from the Randy Marion Studios on Signal Hill in Statesville. This is the Sports Recap Show with Brian Suarez, Harry Nostrand, and Mark Covert.
Wow, I almost choked on my words there. Good Tuesday evening out there in Radio Land. That's off to an auspicious start. It's the Sports Recap Show here on 92.9 WAME, brought to you by our Calder Cup friends, battling out with the Abbotsford. What do they call it? The Johnny Canucks, whatever.
Abbotsford Canucks.
Yeah, and for the Calder Cup Series Tide 1-1, our friends at the Star of the Checkers sponsoring the Sports Recap Show. I am Harry the Menu Nostrand, joined by my good buds and cohorts. We are a full cast again tonight. We've got the rookie, Mark Covert.
Yeah.
The professor, Brian Suarez.
That's right.
And on the board, our trusty engineer, Bryson the Commander Davis. Our trusty engineer.
Trusty.
Yeah,
And
I
he's a new
appreciate
one.
it.
Hey,
It took me a
how
long
many-
time
how
to
many-
earn
How many
that.
years did it
Yeah.
take?
Let me tell you how trusty he is. If he ever tells you, use this and this is my password, don't trust him.
Well,
He
look,
gives you the wrong password.
That's about
look,
par for the
I've got
course.
2 passwords for everything, and I gave Brian the wrong one. There was a 50% chance that went wrong.
Yeah, well,
So, hey, anyway, I gave you the other one, so now you have the password to all of my banking information. Everything that you need to know is under
Oh,
all
that's
that.
a
We
dangerous,
got- we got your-
It
that's
sounds
a
like you have a
dangerous
career
thought right there.
carved out as a meteorologist. You know that, right?
we got your blood type, your social security, all that good stuff too.
Oh,
All right,
that's
well,
good.
Oh, we can get it now. We
yeah,
got his
we can.
password.
I mean, hey.
Yeah, we can. And of course, I said we are back to full cast. We are joined by our special co-host. And that'd be none other than Captain Jack Sparrow, otherwise known as Big Steve, returning from the high seas of the Caribbean, and not the Pirates of the Caribbean ride at Disney. You didn't go there, right?
Nope.
All right, he was
Nope.
actually sailing on the high seas with the carnival on the on
In the
carnival
middle of the
cruise.
Atlantic.
Well, hold on, not quite
Hey.
the middle.
Well,
You were in, you're in.
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah, I
For
mean,
dramatic effect.
if it was in the middle, that water been a little cold.
sort of in the for dramatic effect. I was
Yeah,
in the middle of it.
So hey, tell us, how'd you enjoy your cruise?
It was good. It was better than I expected. My first cruise I ever went on. So
Food's good, isn't it?
it is.
Lots of it.
Oh yeah. It's really good.
Yeah.
Steve.
This next commercial break roll brought to you by the catering company at Carnival Cruise Lines,
Yeah.
where we'll feed you as much as you want until you throw up.
You can eat 24 hours a day.
Ask yeah.
Just ask Harry.
No.
I mean,
either one of us. Man.
okay, real quick before we continue. First
Oh.
time I went on a cruise, you'll get a kick out of this. Well, as an adult, let me rephrase that. I went with
You're an
my,
adult.
technically, I think, just by legally. Anyway, I went with my sister and brother-in-law. I went with Holly and Doug. And it was the first time I'd been an adult, so I'm like, yeah, this is fun. Well, before we've ever left the port, they let you on the boat. And the first thing they want you to do, because they don't let you go to your rooms, is they say, hey, go to the cafe, have lunch. Go to the buffet, eat lunch.
That's right.
All right,
Yep,
cool.
sure.
I'll go
Yep,
eat some
that's
lunch. Let me go eat, go to the buffet, go to Pound Town on about
Mhm.
everything that's. Oh, by the way, don't forget on Carnival, you got Guy's Burgers.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, so
Yeah.
good. It
So-
is so good.
So you go pound some burgers after you've already done the buffet. And now, mind you, cruises are all you could eat. It's all included. They do have some specialty restaurants that you've got to pay
Mhm.
extra for. Other than that, you could eat all day, all night, and everything. Well, this was when Harry was.
Harry tried.
Yeah, this is when Harry was a complete lard, and just kept eating. Well, then before the ships left too, we go out to the pool deck, and guess what they're doing? They're handing out all these little fruity drinks with
Uh-huh.
umbrellas, and one was called the Fun Chip. I think it was like a Mai Tai Bahama Mama, something like that. I don't know. Anyway, couple that with the amount of food I ate and the 14 drinks I had. By the time the ship left, I was feeling pretty good. And let's just say after going to dinner later that night, right after dinner, I had to go back to my room to
Dispose.
yeah. And let me tell you, it went out the way it came in,
Oh.
and it was bad.
That's
Mhm.
TMI.
That is too much.
Let's just say I got sick,
Yeah.
and I probably lost the 14 pounds I had gained. That
Well,
day.
that's a good plus.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
it was not pretty, but the sad thing about this whole thing was that my sister and brother-in-law happened to walk by as it was happening in my room, and they could
Oh.
hear it, and they
Mm.
come knocking on my door, and I'm stripped down in my boxers, dripping sweat, and I opened the door, and just the wall of smell hits him, and yeah, it was not pleasant. But yeah, that was my first cruise.
Wow.
I learned my lesson. Only eat half of what you think,
You
and drink
can't-
half of what
won't-
you think.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
And that's still twice as much as you actually need.
Probably, yes.
So, anyway, good to have you back. Glad you had a good time, man. We're gonna start our show as we always do with birthdays, trivia, and interesting facts.
I hope somebody else has trivia because I don't have any.
You got nothing?
No, I got a
Hot-
couple birthdays
let me
though.
check.
Dog.
One you'll know, one you'll be kind of like, and there's a story behind this one. All right, so number one is Venus Williams' birthday is today.
I almost said, well, wouldn't it be Serena's too? But then I realized that was not
They're
correct.
not twins. So Venus Williams, and then the other person whose birthday it is former NBA player and current assistant coach Ron Popeye Jones. I believe he's an assistant with Dallas right now. And the reason his birthday is today, and I bring this up, is his son, Seth Jones, is one of the defensemen for the Florida Panthers, who will be playing the Edmonton Oilers tonight at 8 o'clock with a chance to bring home the cup. And we're going to talk about that here in just a couple of minutes.
Elimination.
So
Those your birthdays?
those are my birthdays. That's it.
Okay.
Not
I
a whole
got-
lot
I got-
happening
I got,
today.
I got 2 trivia questions.
All right.
I got
Cool.
one. so you
Keep
go
it keep
first.
it kind of general. So a lot of championship conversations swirling around the table at the moment, right?
That's right. Yep.
Stanley Cup, NBA Finals,
Yep.
Thunder go up 3-2 last
Yep.
night.
Calder Cup.
So exactly on the cusp of some championships being won and
Yep.
champions being crowned.
Yep.
Can you gentlemen tell me of the 4 big leagues, NFL, NBA, MLB, NHL? There are 124 teams total. How many have never won a championship?
Like out of
In
all
total,
the leagues.
Numbers.
Yeah, out of
The numbers.
124, how many have
Do we
not
get?
won a
have
Do
championship?
we get
never
like
won.
if we're in a specific like a?
Whoever,
you do the exact
whoever's
number?
closest,
Okay,
All right.
whoever's closest. If you get it on the head, I mean, congratulations.
I've got a number. 17.
Okay.
23. Says more than that.
Okay.
I'm gonna say it's more like Harry. What'd you say?
17.
Harry said 17.
Yeah, I know. 23.
Steve said 23. Bryson, so you know you weren't here.
I'm gonna say it's a neighborhood. I'm gonna go with 14.
14. Okay, Bryson. 4 big sports leagues in America: NFL, NBA, NHL, MLB. There's 124 teams total.
Yep.
How many of those 124 have not won a championship?
Oh, that's
So,
pretty good.
so we've got 17 from Harry, we got 23 from Big Steve, and we got 14 from Brian.
I'm gonna say I'll go right in there and say 16.
16. Brian is the closest.
Really?
It is
What'd he say?
37.
Wow.
What?
How? What'd you say,
Uh-huh.
Brian?
No, he's closer
No,
than
I'm
me.
the
He said.
closest.
Oh, you said
23.
23. Sorry, sorry.
said
It's-
23.
Steve,
I was
so
gonna
Steve
say-
is
I thought
close.
you
Yes,
said
23.
less.
Yes.
Yeah.
37 is
Yeah.
crazy.
37.
Wow.
37 teams have
I
never
would've
won a
thought that-
championship.
But okay, so here's the question: how many in baseball have not won a championship?
The Rockies.
Yeah. Closest they came, I think, was
Yeah, they're
07.
not getting close this year
No,
either.
the Rockies, Rays.
There's what, 6 teams
Yeah.
in baseball?
Yeah.
Well, think about it. How many's in? There's only like 7 in football, right?
That's what I'm saying. So the bulk of
Mhm.
these are coming from hockey and NBA.
They have.
I mean, there's a lot of NBA teams that have never won a title.
Yeah.
Now, granted, there's also a lot of younger NBA teams.
Franchises.
So it's,
Well, that's
it's,
true too.
You
yeah.
know,
Yeah.
so your likelihood's not nearly
I mean,
there.
there are some young NBA or NFL franchises too.
Yep.
Like you got Carolina and Jacksonville and Texans
Mhm.
all around the same time.
Baltimore, and Baltimore's got 2, but they all came out around the
Okay.
same time as the Panthers
Yeah.
and Jacksonville.
Yeah.
So you just kind of get fortunate one way or another.
But yeah, that's what.
So what would be cool is, Mark, does your question have the 37 of them?
I could go
Or
back.
is it
And,
just
I could go back and find
Let's
it.
say for
but
next week, see if you can find it and see who they are, because I'd be interested to know who they are.
I may have saved it. To be honest.
Well, either
What's your
way.
next question?
Yes, my next question. So, outside of championships, the NBA draft lottery is also going to be coming up in the near future. NBA calendar never slows down. There are 6 teams that have never selected first overall. 6 teams. Who are they?
Boston Celtics.
Yeah.
1950 was the last time they selected first.
Have they
overall.
selected first?
1950.
Wow.
That is the
Eh.
farthest back the team is selecting first overall.
There's only how many teams are there?
6. So
I-
24
Have
other
not
teams have.
selected.
I know, like,
first.
I think 2 or 3 of them.
Go ahead.
Miami Heat,
That's 1.
the Jazz.
That is 2.
I know this because this was seen not too long ago.
Okay.
So I just can't remember them. I want to say the Nuggets were another one, but I can't remember for sure.
That is 3. Got the Heat, the Jazz, and the Nuggets. There are 3
So
more.
my other one that I'm a little confused on, because again, I don't know if we're counting old franchises or not. I want to say the Supersonics, but that could be the Oklahoma City
Should
Thunder.
be
So let's say the Thunder.
OKC.
That is 4.
All right, that's all I got.
So you got 4 of the 6.
There are 2 more. 1 West, 1 East.
Memphis.
Clippers.
Charlotte.
5.
Wow.
Memphis.
Memphis.
Clippers.
No.
Oh,
The
yeah, they
Clippers.
did.
had
Oh,
Blake Griffin.
oh!
That was 2009.
The one in the East.
No, they did. They did. I was gonna say Chicago.
Yeah, not Chicago. Derrick Rose.
Yeah, that's
Oh,
what.
wait.
That's Indiana.
6.
Wow.
Harry got
Hey,
all
you
6.
got
That was a
all
clean
6 of
sweep.
them.
I do
That's
know
pretty
my
impressive.
NBA pretty well.
That's pretty impressive.
But I did see there was
Yikes.
something like this maybe I don't know 3 weeks ago. I saw it. I couldn't remember them all, but I did actually.
So the Celtics were the furthest back that have had the first overall pick in 1950. The second furthest back would be the Lakers in 1982.
They've been good for a while. The Celtics have.
A smidge.
So,
All right.
A smidge.
Anybody else got trivia?
do you have another one, or is that it?
Oh, that's it.
All right,
Let's see if I can find
Harry's
those
got
teams
one,
really
right?
quick.
I've got one for you. Actually, I have a trivia and interesting fact.
All right.
All right, I don't know if you guys noticed, but
Sure
it was
didn't.
announced that the champion of food eating competition is returning
I saw
to the
that
stage for the Nathan's hot dog
on
eating
July
contest
4th.
on July 4th. None other than Joey Chestnut. Joey Chestnut holds the record for the most wins in that competition. Can you tell me how many times he's won?
7.
15.
Brian's close.
I'm gonna go 18.
Yeah, you're way off.
What'd you say?
Way
I
off.
said 7. I don't.
Let me
He's been
get
doing it for way more than 7 years.
let me get 14.
So 14, 7,
I got
15.
18.
Well, if this was the Price is Right, you win because he went over by 1, but he was
Oh.
closest, 17. Or excuse me,
thought it
16.
was
I'm
okay.
sorry. 16.
So
So you were the closest.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah.
thought it was 17. So yes, you 16.
Yeah. Okay.
You were 1 off. So yeah, he has won a record 16 times. Again, that is a record for
What
the
that,
competition.
they call that the mustard belt, I think, right?
Something
The
like that.
mustard
I think
belt.
that's right.
I call it. We're all probably disgusted by the time it's over.
So,
yeah.
He, according to Major League Eating, he is considered the greatest eater in history. And that's
Oh.
only because they haven't seen me.
I was gonna say. I bet
Yeah,
Harry's
where
got
are they
something.
at?
Nah,
Where are they
we've
looking
seen
for?
you.
Cruise ship.
I saw you try to take down a McDouble in one bite on this show, and
It was like a
did
bite and
not
a
work.
half. It
did
was like a
not
bite and a
work.
half.
It did
I needed
not
to dip
work.
it in water.
It did not work.
I have seen some wonders in my 4 years here.
You want to see what I do to this bean burrito?
Nope.
No, I think it's good.
All right. And
That
then
comes later.
And then I have an
Phew.
interesting fact. All right. To celebrate Father's Day, a other potential record may have been broken. Someone became a dad at what some would consider a pretty old age. Brian, what do you think is too old to have a kid?
Ooh.
As a guy,
I
as a
mean,
man, as a man.
Oh, wow.
Physically
Well, hey,
or
we're getting
physically
philosophical now.
or
Let's get it.
just-
Hey,
Physically
not this
or
week.
just like actually like, hey, you're a little bit.
I don't know,
like
like,
what-
what, like socially, like what would you say? Like, oh, he's like way too old to have a newborn, like that.
Like Theo Von's dad was
Like-
70.
60.
60?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because think about this for just a minute. If you did when your child was 18, you'd be 78 years old.
Hey,
And think of the activities you'd have to do in that interim of those 18 years, run around chasing the kid when you're 68, you know?
Well, so 60. Okay.
Yeah.
What do you think, Mark?
be careful. my dad's old.
Mr. Covert, if you're listening.
No, Brian's probably right. Like, you know what? I'll say like
60.
you go past 50,
Yeah.
then it's starting to get
Yeah,
Yeah.
because
it's
you're
starting to
almost
get a little-
70 when your
it's,
kid
it's a
graduates
little,
high
it's a
school.
little iffy, right? Like,
Upper 40s to 50.
yeah, like my dad was 44 when I was born, so like
That's not bad.
That's not too bad.
it's so I mean
Yeah, I
it's
wouldn't say that's that
later,
bad.
it's
Yeah,
later,
Yeah,
later,
but
Okay,
it's
so
still
so we're
okay.
saying
Yeah.
between 45 and 60 kind of is the consensus.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like you're on the
Sure.
high end, you're on
Yeah,
the lower.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
All right. Well, somebody got to celebrate Father's Day in the best way possible and welcomed a newborn into the world after the long wait of 135 years.
Hmm?
A tortoise at
Oh
a
my
zoo
God.
gave
my
birth.
God.
Are we
serious?
Or not, the tortoise didn't
Oh,
give
come
birth.
on.
The tortoise became a father at the age of 135. which is in
Yeah,
fact
okay,
a
that's
world
true.
record.
Did you hear the
Yes.
crowd groan on that one? Did you hear it?
Listen,
It wasn't
like,
that's
hard. You
impossible.
could have
We're
heard
not a
it.
human.
Let's move on.
I
You
have
have other
headphones on,
news.
so I know you
I
heard
thought
it.
it was pretty good.
In other
There-
news,
There have been
135.
in other news,
there have been, Brian, 2 teams since the year 2000 that have been swept in the NBA Finals twice. Who are they?
Cavaliers.
The
Yeah.
Mavericks.
Yeah.
No?
No, not the Mavericks. It's the Cavs.
Okay.
All right. Well, that was a bad question.
You said
I
there
knew
were two
that.
teams.
I knew that one because
Oh, I thought you were saying 2 franchises.
Oh no,
Oh, that's what I
No,
thought.
no,
oh,
no, no,
no,
no.
it's
Sorry.
happened twice in the same
it's
franchise.
happened twice in the
Oh.
same franchise.
Oh,
I thought
yeah.
he was saying
Okay,
two franchises
okay.
because I
Now,
knew
which ones were they? And give me years.
it's the LeBron with the Spurs. I don't know exactly what year that was. It was around like 09 to
08,
11.
I think. No, 08 was Celtics. I'm sorry. It was 07.
It was,
No, it was technically 08.
uh,
It's technically the
Celtics won
08
08.
final. No, it was technically the 08
All right.
finals.
Okay.
I knew it was LeBron with the Spurs the one time, and I think he might have done it again.
No,
somebody else.
then the
It was
uh,
LeBron against the Warriors
yes.
Oh, okay.
back in Cleveland.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately.
And then the very next year, or was it the very next year? LeBron.
No, this was after that.
Okay.
Yeah, this was after the 3-1 comeback.
Gotcha. Okay.
It's 2 years after. I
all
think.
right. So speaking of championships, we're going to start off talking about the Charlotte Checkers and the Abbotsford Canucks in the Calder Cup Championship. We're going to start off with Game 1, and I'm going to let Bryson talk about Game 1 because it was won by Abbotsford 4-3 in 2 overtimes. This happened to be the second longest game in Checkers history.
Yep, and it certainly felt that way. I would say, and you and I talked about this as we were walking back to the car through the tunnel. And I don't mean this as just like this is just something to say, but that probably was the best hockey game that I have ever seen, or at least in a very long time.
In person or like just
In
overall?
person, in
Okay,
person, like
okay.
the overall experience. First of all, you have the largest Checkers crowd in history at Bojangles Coliseum, which
Until
was
Sunday.
topped on Sunday. But at the time, it was the largest in history, so
Yep.
the place was rocking. The Checkers came out in the first period, and man, they were just lights out. Some of the best hockey I've ever seen in my life.
So let me jump in. That first period was as good as any period that I have seen in the Stanley Cup Finals this year, Mark. That's how good the play was in that first period of Game 1.
Play's been hit or miss in the Stanley Cup quarter or
Yeah,
period to
I'm
period,
just
but-
saying
Yeah, yeah, no, I
that first
understand. I get it.
period,
Yeah.
the play was good as
Yeah.
any first of any period I've seen in the Stanley Cup Finals.
It really was, and a lot of people, a lot of the conversation has been how similar the Checkers look on the ice to Florida, how close their play is, just their style, the physicality, the speed. All of that is there, and I just think it was incredible. Now you had a dramatic shift going into the second period, and then on to the third period, and talk a little bit about that, the transition of the game, because you talked about it being the longest game. It transitioned very quickly into being a pretty slow-paced game
Yeah,
as
it
we
did.
moved through
in
the second and third.
There were a bunch of stoppages in play. Exactly. It was very slow the next 2 periods. There was not as much hitting as there was in period number 1. The flow wasn't as much either. It wasn't as fast.
Why do you think that is? What?
I think the first period they were just kind of feeling each other out.
Coming
and
out
they
juice. It's
decided
game
what
1
to
of the
play,
Calder Cup, dude.
what the
Yeah,
play,
yeah.
defense, what the defense adjusted to.
I sort of
Um,
felt that way too. Like
know?
to Harry's point, like like it's the Calder Cup Finals, and you like I feel like the adrenaline fueled the
Right,
first period,
Right.
but then you get into the second and third, and then it's just the fundamentals of basic
Yep.
hockey, and you saw 2 very even teams transitioning into what we saw as an overtime period.
Right. And then think about it. In that first overtime period, nobody really took any chances.
Yeah.
There was a lot of good play, some good goaltending, but nobody really took any chances. And there wasn't, I don't remember any really good chances to score to end the game.
Not in the first overtime.
In the first one, no.
And it was very long. The play was slow. I think the Checkers did not have an opportunity from a straightforward shot. It was
Right.
going to take some crowds in front of the net, some confusion, block a vision for the goalie. Something crazy was going to happen in order to get that goal, and they just didn't have the opportunities. And Abbotsford didn't have the opportunities either. It was great goaltending, great defensive play, and so that forced us into the second overtime, which got pretty interesting.
It did. So we thought the game was over that the Checkers had scored. However,
Yeah.
the referee had blown the whistle, blown the play dead off the face-off. So we had actually started to leave, and then we had to go back, didn't we?
Yeah, we did.
So then we went back, and then we saw the second ending of the game where the Vancouver, I keep saying that, Abbotsford scored a goal to win 4-3 in overtime in the second overtime. Really, really good game. Fantastic game. big crowd, great atmosphere. And you and I talked about this. This was funny. So like people were leaving.
Yeah.
Even after regulation, there were some
Mhm.
people left, and then after the first overtime, a lot of people left, and it was
Yeah.
like, where are they going to game? It's a good game.
Yeah.
And obviously, it got late. No
Right.
doubt. So anyway, Checkers lose 4-3. We come back on Sunday, and then Harry's there. So I'm gonna let Harry talk a little bit about Sunday's game. Harry.
So mine's gonna be way less analytical because I don't know as much of the ins and outs of hockey. But I'll tell you this: if Friday was better than Sunday, I wish I had been to Friday's game because Sunday was incredible. And it's from just listening to you, it sounds like it started very similar to how
Yeah.
game one started.
They were both very close as far as the play goes.
Yeah,
Like
and-
I don't know if I can say which game was better. It was two very good games. I'll jump in here real quick.
Mhm.
My wife, who's not a hockey fan, everybody knows Danielle. On game one, she was very riveted. In fact, what's funny about this is during the first overtime, Bryson came to sit with me. When was that? During the first overtime or at this beginning of the second?
It was after regulation, going into the first overtime.
And I had actually asked her, like, what are we going to do if it goes into another overtime? And she's like, I'm staying. I want to see the end of this game.
that was pretty
Do you
cool.
remember her saying that?
I do. Well, not only so I went to say hi because I wasn't sitting with you guys. I went to say hello at the beginning of the game. Danielle was excited. I could just tell,
Who had
like
the other two
she was
seats?
fired up to be there.
My sales guy, but they
Okay.
left after the
And
regulation.
so then going into when I came back down there, and you guys were talking about it, and she's like, "No, we're staying." I'm like, "Absolutely!" Like it was cool because the whole place kind of had that excitement about it.
Well,
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
gonna throw Miss Neal under the bus. She was ready to go after regulation on Sunday.
Well, look, what
Yeah.
time did you get home from the game on Friday?
It was about 12:15, 12:20.
Yeah, that's all right. It's a good
Yeah.
night of hockey.
But anyway, so go ahead. I just want to interject. They were
Yeah,
both very good games. It was riveting. Like I said, Danielle follows. That's probably the first game that she has really she watches, but really watched
Yeah.
and did not want to leave. I was a little surprised because what I was getting prepared to tell her was, well, if you're going to leave before the game's over, you can drive home. I'll get Bryson to bring me home.
Yeah. he was getting ready to say that on Sunday. too.
So
He's like,
anyway,
"You
go
wanna
ahead. Sunday the game starts.
So yeah, game starts. The Checkers strike first, and tons of energy on the team in the building. Just a raucous crowd, which was awesome. It felt like championship hockey, but right from the drop. I mean, the one thing I noticed, they scored. What, couple minutes later, Abbotsford comes back and scores
Right.
again. So ties it
Right.
up. A lot of back and forth. Checkers go up 2-1. Abbotsford comes back tied. It was 2-2 at the end of one. One thing you see as the game was going on was how physical this game was going to be, and how chippy it was going to be.
Oh yeah.
The end of the first period was when this really became
More
clear.
so than game one, Bryson. Like game one, we talked about that. It wasn't there. It was physical hitting, but not chippy. But then in game two,
Yeah. So
it turned a little bit.
Yeah, game two after end of the first period, one of the players for Abbotsford, I just know his number. I don't know his name. 79. He goes skating off the ice and he's jawing to I don't know to whether it's the fans to someone. He's jawing and it's getting the crowd involved. Second period starts. It's a lot of just hitting. Like these guys are literally just going at each other. Like not fighting, but they're
Yeah.
playing tough, hard hockey. Not a ton of shots on goal in the second period for either team, especially Abbotsford. Like I think at the end of the second period, it was 29-9 shots on goal.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, 20 goal advantage
In
almost.
game two, Abbotsford only had 6 shots after the first period.
Wow.
Yeah, so
total.
there was 9 total at the end of the first, or end of the second period. And I think early, midway through the third, they were at 10. So they didn't get a lot of shots on goal. They were efficient with the ones they had. But yeah, again, game got really chippy, really physical. Like if there's a stop and play, there was always push and shoving. Official one could not stay on his feet, by the
He
way, which is
fell
absolutely
twice,
terrible.
yeah.
He comes sliding
Same
in,
guy.
sliding in to break up a push and shove a match. He's like he's sliding into home
Huh.
plate. Yeah, so just a really physical game. And then Brian likes to point this out, and it is funny. You look at Abbotsford, that's a big team. That's a big hockey team.
Yep.
Charlotte's not backing down from them. They are not nervous at
no.
all. As a matter of fact, the smallest guy on the ice went and
out-
laid out the biggest guy on the
Yeah,
ice. for
number
Abbotsford.
79 got hit by Justin Sordiff and just
Leveled him.
I mean, it was a good clean hit, no penalty. I mean, leveled the dude. The
But-
dude laid on the ice for a little while.
and he had to,
Remember,
he
he
had to go off
skated
the
off
ice.
to the room, and then he come back out,
And as he's skating off, he's turning around and pointing to
and he was doing that same thing when he came back out. Remember, he skated over at the
Oh, yeah.
bench and started pointing at Sordiff with his stick.
Yeah,
Like,
they were like
I would mess with Justin Sordiff. I've seen
I
him
don't
in
know
some-
about
in some
dude.
tough
He's
situations.
a
like a
little dude.
Yeah, I
he's
know-
like-
I
man.
know.
He hits hard.
He's
I
like an
know.
Iranian ICBM. I mean, good lord.
Okay. All right.
Um,
So
Easy.
keep going because I
Easy.
want to throw some stats in when you get to the end.
Yeah.
Go
So
ahead.
there's that altercation which pretty much just sets the tone for the rest of the game. But it was good, clean hockey for the most part. Just like you said, a lot of shoving, good
Yeah.
hits.
Yep.
There was a couple weird penalties called. Like they called goalie interference after one of the goals for
That's
Abbotsford,
correct.
which
That's
I
right.
still don't understand why it's goalie interference after the fact. Like to me, once the puck goes in the net, cross that line, it's done.
Right. Right.
And then what I thought was going to be the doom of the Checkers was in overtime. They got a what was it, a hooking call?
Right. Okay. So here's what happens at the beginning of the overtime. So with what, maybe like a minute in,
Yeah, if
or
that.
less than a
Less
minute,
than a minute.
the Checkers end up getting a penalty, which is kind of to me a questionable call.
Oh, it
Right.
certainly looked
So
like it.
the Abbotsford goes on the power play. They end up Will Lockwood. What eventually happens is he gets the puck down into the Abbotsford end. They tie it up. I think the goalie stops a shot.
Mhm.
There's a face off, and off the face off, Matt. Gosh, I can't think. Off the face off, the Checkers draw a penalty with only 4 seconds left.
So there was going to be 4 seconds of 4-on-4, and then they were going to have the advantage.
Right.
Yeah,
And then
yeah.
when they got the power play, they got the puck down into the zone. They pass it out to Mike Benning at the blue line.
Mhm.
He comes in about at the top of the face-off circle and just blasts one's past Elov
Which was
for
crazy.
the overtime winner.
Yeah, which was crazy because we talked about it the whole game. That's not the type of shot you were going to get past this goal.
Yeah, no screen. There was no screen on this shot
Yeah,
we're talking about.
Like this was
Zero.
just a clean shot. Like it.
I don't know how he missed it. It's like the whole game.
The
and
guy's been
in fact,
fantastic.
Listen
Yeah.
to this. So here's a couple stats. So far in the two games, the shots on goal are Charlotte 96, Abbotsford 43.
Doubling him up, or more than doubling him up.
Right? And then here's here's another crazy stat. There have been 154 minutes played. Charlotte has only trailed for 3 minutes and 25 seconds in those 154 minutes.
You could very easily say the Checkers could be up 2-0 right now. Very easily.
Oh yeah.
You could also say
Yes,
that you could also say
yes.
Abbotsford could be up 2-0.
Because actually the game we were at in the first overtime, Charlotte had a ton of really good chances.
Well, they did, and
did not
that's
score.
when the conversation comes into what you're speaking of this goalie. You're not going to get a straightforward shot with him. You have to have the screens. You've got to have those tough shots off the deflection to get past him.
Did you see the first goal Sunday that Charlotte scored at the beginning of the game?
I haven't seen.
I mean, it was a deflection, and the Charlotte Checkers guy was literally just past the goalie, got the deflection around, and just pushed it in.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the
yeah.
type of stuff you're going to get past
Yep.
this guy because he's sitting there with his glove. just
Right.
pew, 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 pew,
oh
pew.
yeah.
Like
It-
it was incredible. It was
Yeah.
he had a fantastic game. It just, and like I told Monterey, I said, just imagine being that guy. You play a fantastic game. It's that one that got by you in overtime. That's it. That's what people remember.
Right.
But
He had 51 saves in game 1 and 39 in game 2.
yeah, I mean, you're
So,
playing very good.
All right, so the series continues tonight in Abbotsford. Game 3 is at 10 o'clock. If you want to hear it tonight, you will have to tune into the Checkers app and you can hear TJ Shalott listen live. And then game 4 will be Thursday night at 10 o'clock from Abbotsford. If you actually want to hear that one, you can tune into the NHL Network Radio on Sirius XM Channel 91. We'll have that game.
By the way, if you are listening to the XM broadcast, you've heard the WAME
Yes, you will.
commercials.
Yep,
And
100%.
spots.
And then
So
on-
we are going big, ladies and gentlemen. And by big, I mean Big Steve, Big Harry, and Big Mark.
Hey, and
Billy
then
Butt
game-
worldwide.
And then game 5, listen, game 5 will be in Abbotsford on Saturday night at 9 o'clock. Again, you can hear it on Sirius XM. A couple real quick stats about Charlotte on the road so far in the playoffs. The Checkers are 5-0 on the road. And counting the last 5 road games of the regular season, they have won 10 consecutive road games. So we'll see what happens. We're hoping for 3 Charlotte victories in Abbotsford, and we bring home the cup.
That's it.
And if not, there'll be a game 5 next Monday night. A game 6, next Monday night in Charlotte at 7 p.m. So let's move on real quick. There's another big hockey game going on tonight, and that would be the Oilers at the Panthers. Boys, y'all picked the Oilers. Their backs are up against the wall tonight.
That they are.
What are we going to see? And who's going to win tonight?
What'd you say?
I said hockey. It's going to be. It'll be
It
a
sounded
good
like you
game.
said something
It
else.
did not sound like hockey from the
Yeah.
distance.
Did it not?
Yeah,
Oh,
it did not.
Well,
You sound like,
clarification.
it sounded like you said puck it.
Oh.
Yeah.
No, I said hockey.
Sure did. Like,
Hockey.
wow, okay.
No. Well, everybody started looking at me funny, and I was like, "What's up?
What are we going to see tonight?
What's up with that?" It's going to have to be a tough physical game for Edmonton, but they can't let that just throw the game out the window because we've seen that moving forward throughout some of the other games. The physicality was overly physical and it killed them. And it just it killed their momentum, any that they had. And Florida took advantage of it. They were laughing them off the ice.
I think realistically what we're going to end up seeing is Florida wants game 3 again, right? Get in Edmonton's head, hit them early and often, make them play
Yeah.
Florida's brand of hockey. Not that Edmonton can't, but it's very clear who the more aggressive team is here. Just by nature, by everything they do throughout the course of the season, right? It's the Florida Panthers.
Yeah.
They want game 3. What you're going to see is a very different game because I guarantee you Edmonton's not going to let that happen again.
Okay.
Do they win tonight?
Can,
I'm not 100% sure at the moment in time.
let
but
me
I mean,
interject a minute. Let me ask you all a couple questions. Who's been the best team in the series so far?
Florida.
The Panthers.
Right? Panthers
The
by
team,
far.
the team that has 3
But-
wins.
so,
Florida.
Mark, what you're saying is you think the Edmonton team that's going to come out is tonight is the game 3 team,
Mm-mm,
not the
Mm-mm.
game.
mm-mm, mm-mm.
No, not 3.
no. The back end of game 4.
4.
Yes.
Right? Not the team that
Period.
came out in game 5. Right?
Or
so
3,
so
yes.
here's what I want to ask you though. How do the Oilers come out in game 5 in Edmonton, 2 games to 2,
Mhm.
and play the way they did in front of the home crowd and lose that game?
I don't know.
How do you do that?
I don't know. But here's what I can tell you about the Edmonton Oilers. They won 3 in a row last year, and they put themselves in game 7
You are correct.
in that sort of situation.
However, here's what I say. The Panthers learned from that last year, and they're not going to let the chance to win tonight at home escape.
Yeah.
they
I
already
agree
did it
with
once
that.
last. They already did it once last year. They're not. Gonna
I
do
don't
it
think they're
again.
going to do it again. I don't think they'll do that
I don't know.
again. I think they'll
What is the
they'll
most
not
what's
lose
the
the
most one of the
chance.
most dangerous things in sports?
A desperate team.
Bingo. And that's what you're going to get out of
But-
Edmonton. Again, Florida wants, you talk about learning lessons. Florida wants game 3. Edmonton
Yes, but-
already saw 2 games in Florida this postseason now, correct?
right.
And they won
They won
one
one
of
and
those
lost
games.
the other.
And that was after the game where they got absolutely eviscerated. And like literally every facet.
No, that's not true.
They did not.
No,
They did not win
Edmonton
game 4.
Wait a minute. Edmonton game 1. The 6-1 game. Wait a minute. Was that game 3?
That was
That was
3.
game 3.
That was game 3.
And they came out.
So that's
and
right.
the
Okay,
Oilers
so
won
Edmonton
5-4.
won, Florida
Yes.
won,
And then game
Florida won
4
again, and then Edmonton
Yes.
came out.
And
in
then
game
game
4.
4,
That's right.
Florida
Yes,
scored 3
you're right.
goals in
You're
the
right.
first period.
You're right.
And then Edmonton came
Yeah.
back. So
I-
Florida wants game 3. There's no doubt about that. You want to absolutely pound them into submission. I think Edmonton learns from that situation here. They go down there. I'm not saying they're going to blow them off the ice. They're
Right,
not going to.
Right.
I do think they win. And I don't think for once in these Stanley Cup finals, I don't think we're going into overtime tonight. Because that
See-
seems to be the theme.
See, yeah. See, the thing is, though, Florida doesn't have to have game 3 to beat Edmonton.
Sure. They can have game
they can-
5.
They don't have to have that game 3 to beat them.
Sure.
Right.
Sure.
I don't know. I think the Panthers learned from last year. I don't think they lose the opportunity. I'm going to give you another kicker. I think somebody on Florida is going to have a hat trick tonight.
No.
First ever hat trick in Panther history.
Is it gonna be the rat?
Yep. I think that's who it's going to be.
I
Brad
knew that's where you were
Marchand.
going with that.
I mean,
I hate
he
that man so much.
look it. He has.
I don't
he
even have a
may-
reason to. I just hate
hey,
him so much.
I
in
hate
so-
him too.
He's so
listen,
little.
Hold on, just
Hey,
listen
he's
to
a
me a
turd.
I
second.
hate the guy.
In the Stanley Cup,
Terrible
hey, in
guy.
the Stanley Cup Finals,
Turd.
he's probably been Florida's best player. Like the other game, Game 5, he was the best player on the ice in
Sure
Game 5.
was.
And that's insane to me just because of the fact with all the surgeries and the injuries he went through in Boston and then to come to Florida and play as good as he has is just
We don't
completely
associate
shocking.
him with Boston anymore. Please
Yeah,
don't.
well, look, I don't. Yeah, no, that's fine. We can stand together on this. That's something that we can agree on.
Well, I think it's going to be a heck of a game. I agree. The Oilers could win it. I'm not saying they're not going to. The other thing that's kind of surprised me about this series is like Connor McDavid has played okay, right?
Yeah.
He's not been Connor McDavid.
He's not been
Mhm.
Connor McDavid.
Mhm.
Now, is that how much of that has to do with the Florida defense, and how much of that has to do with he's just not been Connor McDavid? I don't know.
Well-
I'd say it's more the Florida defense than it is him being Connor McDavid.
Now
Or
the-
not being Connor.
He also got
McDavid.
dinged up pretty good.
But
Yeah,
that's because of who?
but I,
The Florida defense,
Yeah.
exactly.
I would-
Well,
I think too, though, it's so hard to compare like this season to last year. I don't feel like Edmonton is a very different team compared to last year. I feel like they're still pretty consistent in the way that they play. But Florida, they're still physical. Sure, they're fast and they're playing great, but they're a different team than they were last year. So the same strategies that worked last year, the same things that we saw we're not really seeing. I think Connor McDavid played pretty good last year in the finals, but
Right.
we haven't seen him step out. And I think this new approach from Florida has really been something they weren't prepared for.
So one thing that is different about Florida and Edmonton this year is Florida rolls all 4 lines the whole game.
Yes.
They have that depth, that they have the, they have the belief in all 12 of their forwards that they're rolling all 4 lines. In the meantime, Edmonton's switching them up like crazy. In fact, they're talking about tonight taking McDavid and Draisaitl and playing them on the same line. Okay, so what does that do to the other 3 lines?
You're
If you put
dampening your
those 2
lines.
in there, right?
Sure.
You're
Sure. But here's the thing: you got to think. Then you're putting that much more pressure on Florida. at that point in
100%,
time.
100%.
And that's what you need to do here.
Right.
Here's the thing: we saw Connor McDavid. You talk about what he did last year. We saw him in, I don't want to say panic mode, but desperation mode, right?
Right.
For 4 to 5, maybe even 6 games in the finals last year, right?
Mhm.
As soon as you get halfway through, or through the first period of game 3, and they're already down, desperation mode
Right.
kicks in
right.
because you know what you're staring at
Yep.
in that moment in time. That's the difference, I think, now, because now for 2 games, it's desperation mode.
If there's 2.
If there's 2, right?
Right.
1, potentially 2 games.
Right.
It is desperation
Right.
mode in this one. I just think, again, when you talk about a team as good as the Oilers, and the Panthers are great, and they're both really damn near eye to eye, even though obviously Florida wins the final last year. I think we're going to see an Edmonton team that is very different from their last trip to Florida. I think they're going to come away with a win. We're going to game 7. You said it yourself, Brian. You're the only person here who picked 7 games. You picked
No, I
Florida.
didn't. I picked 6. I said
I thought you
Florida
said
in
7.
6. Nope.
You said 6.
Florida in 6.
He did. Yeah, he
Yeah,
did.
he
He
said
was the only one to
six.
pick Florida, I think.
Yeah.
He was the only
And
one
I
to pick
said
Florida.
6.
I thought he said
No,
7.
6. I told y'all 6.
I agreed.
I
as
said
well.
Florida in
Yeah,
6.
he did say 6.
I don't know about
Mhm.
that.
I did.
Well, check.
Who's the
Well,
report?
what did you say
check.
about the NBA Finals? You said someone in 7, and there's only 2 7-game series here.
No, I didn't say Florida. I
He said
said
the
Florida in
Checkers in
6. I know
7,
that
I'm
for
sure.
sure. Hey, the one other thing too is like now Edmonton's going back to Skinner in goal.
Yeah.
So the one thing that is a huge difference, Bryson and I always talk about this. This is what I tell him about the Hurricanes. To win the Stanley Cup in the playoffs, your goalie has to make every save he should, and he has to make some that he shouldn't. The difference so far in this series too, in the goaltenders has been Sergei Bobrovsky has been making every save he should and some he shouldn't, and neither of the 2 Edmonton goaltenders have been making saves that they shouldn't.
I would put Stuart Skinner up there on the list with some of the other mediocre goalies that we have seen kill their teams in the playoffs. One of them, which is mine, right? So easy to recognize. But Stuart Skinner is very good when he's on it. When he's on, we have seen him play great this playoff. You can't say that he hasn't played good.
No, I'm not saying
But
he hasn't.
I know, but
Yeah.
there has been several games when he has just been absolutely absent, not there. And when he's not there, and if he doesn't show up tonight, it's done. But I'm not going to say that the entire team is flowing through him, but he's going to have to step up from what we've seen. And I just don't know. Like, I picked Edmonton to win in 6 games. Obviously, that's not happening. But I really have my doubts regarding Stuart Skinner.
Well, the thing is, if they're going to win, he's going to have to stand on his head.
oh yeah,
100%.
Yeah.
All right, so we're going to take a quick commercial break, and then we'll come back and we'll talk about the NBA playoffs, Pacers and Thunder.
At Piedmont Healthcare, we believe in more than just treating patients. We're committed to understanding and addressing the unique needs facing our community. Being a physician-owned network means that we're not just healthcare providers. We're your neighbors, your friends, and your partners in health. With strong ties to local communities, we're able to offer personalized care that truly understands your needs. When you choose Piedmont Healthcare, you're not just choosing healthcare, you're choosing to be part of a community that cares. If you're ready to experience the difference for yourself, call our new patient hotline at 833-PHC for you. That's 833-742-4968. Or you can just request an appointment online, phcappointments.com.
If you're looking for powerful, durable lawnmowers, outdoor power equipment, and more, then you need to visit RC's Lawnmower Sales and Service. Friendly, knowledgeable staff can help you select the proper equipment regardless of your budget. RC services all of the brands it sells, as well as whatever equipment you currently have. Sales, service, parts, experience. RC's Lawnmower Sales and Service, 150 RC Farm Drive, Statesville.
Say, did you know Statesville has its own locally owned electric utility? Yeah. As the oldest municipality-owned electric system in North Carolina, Statesville Public Power has been keeping the lights on in our community since 1889. When storms roll in or outages occur, our crews respond quickly because we live here too. It's about safety, low rates, and reliable service. Public power means local control, local investment, and hometown service. Statesville Public Power. Neighbors serving neighbors.
Attention all home decor and comfort lovers. White Sales Home Furnishings and Flooring just received a huge truckload of Spring Air back support mattresses, and they're on sale now. All sizes and firmness levels available at unbeatable prices. Plus, we've got a massive selection of home furnishings, including sofas, recliners, tables, and more at spectacular savings. And that's not all. When you're ready to give your floors a makeover, we've got the best selection of carpet, hardwood, laminates, and more. Hurry in today to shop our incredible deals and revamp your home in style. White Sales, 583 Turnersburg Highway, Statesville.
Head to Country Bargain Auto Repairs at 1126 Shelton Avenue in Statesville. They specialize in state inspections, oil changes, tune-ups, and brakes. And listen to this. For the next 2 months, take advantage of the specials. Brakes with a lifetime warranty on brake pads for just $149.99 per axle. Plus, tune up your AC for only $89.99 with up to 2 pounds of Freon. Mention this ad on WAME. With 33 years of experience, we guarantee top-notch service. Call today, 704-872-3203. Your car deserves the best.
Ryan Scott's at Randy Marion Chevy in Statesville, and what are you doing now?
I tell you, we got the deals going on. Typical Randy Marion fashion. King of Price, 2024, brand new Chevrolet Malibu LT starting at $19,988. $19,988, brand new, not used. You come pick the color today. Randy Marion Chevrolet Statesville, right here on I-40. Look for the spinning car, folks, because that's where the deals are.
You've found your diamond in the rough. Now it's time to find a diamond to celebrate that love. R. Gregory Jewelers takes the search overseas to the diamond capital of the world, Antwerp, Belgium. We go thousands of miles to handpick from thousands of carats to discover the most beautiful diamonds before they're ever even seen by other stores. Antwerp sparkles with beauty and history, but its brilliant advantage to you is the best selection and value. For your 1 in a million, choose an Antwerp diamond from R. Gregory Jewelers.
Real Country is 550 AM WAME, 92.9 W225BD, Statesville.
Welcome back to the Sports Recap Show here on 92.9 WAME, sponsored by your Calder Cup participants and Eastern Conference champion Charlotte Checkers. Talked about them in the last segment. Of course, they are tied at 1 going on the road for the next 3 games. All the best luck to TJ, Charlotte, and the Czechs. Hopefully, would love to see them back at the Coliseum, but would not be upset if they didn't come back.
Yeah.
And a trophy in hand. So
That's it.
best of luck to the Czechs on the road, but we do move on. There is yet another series. We talked about the 2 finals in hockey. Now we take the ice out of the arena and we set the hardwood down. Game 6, Thunder on the road against the Pacers. Up 3-2, fellas. How has the series changed? Because early on, first 3 games, it's all Indiana, right? Go down, steal a game in the road. You finally get one at home against the Thunder, right? You're up 2-1. You feel really good. Thunder dominate game 4 a little bit. Come back in that one. Dominate game 5. Now going on the road with a chance to clinch.
Wait, I'm sorry. Did you say the Thunder dominated game 5?
Late.
Huh?
Late.
I was going to say the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
That was it.
Well, who's dominated the fourth quarter in literally every game of the
yeah,
postseason?
it was definitely a switch.
Yes.
But it was also, I'm going to say this. The Pacers went away from everything that worked for them in the first part of game 5.
You mean spamming threes?
That and just like it was like we're gonna dribble around in a circle, do. That it was hero balls 1-on-1. Like they weren't moving the ball, extra passes, any of that. The Pacers should be up 3-1.
And that's what happens when you take your foot off the gas.
Yeah, Pacers should be up 3-1.
Well, wait a minute.
You play to not win.
You're talking about game
not
4.
lose, excuse me.
Mark was talking about game 5. You're talking.
No, I'm talking about
four.
game 5.
Well, we
It
were up,
wouldn't be 3-1 if it was game 5.
It's 3-2.
I know. You said Patriots should be up 3-1.
should have been up 3.
That was after game 4. Because remember in game 4 they had the lead and then they lost the lead in the fourth quarter.
Okay, so right now
because they got Pacers.
Right.
the Pacers are the
Yeah.
the Thunder are up 3-2 right now, right?
Yes.
Okay.
He's saying they would have been up 3-1 going into game 5.
Yes, that is what I'm saying.
Is what he was saying.
Okay, gotcha. But he
Yes.
didn't make it sound
Sorry,
like that. He made
yes.
it sound
He
like
never
they
does.
at game
Sorry.
5
No.
if they hadn't just not been the Pacers, they would have
Well,
been
they
up
just went
3
away
games
from
to
everything that
1.
was working.
Harry,
They
that's
were
not
up
5.
until the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
So
That's not fair. Count to 5.
it was, yeah, it was rough. They went, like I said, went away from everything that was working, stopped making the extra passes. It looked like they were, again, playing not to lose instead of playing to win, and put their foot down on the gas and just, or the boots on the back of their heads, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
And OKC, like a good championship team does, smelt that blood in the water and went after it. So
This series ended in the fourth quarter of game 4.
yeah,
Because again, everything the Pacers were about, we talked about it. If you can put the Pacers away through 3 quarters, fine. The problem was when you got to that final quarter and they were within striking distance, is when they got damn near everybody this postseason, right? Including the Thunder. Thunder got by it at least once in this series, possibly twice, honestly. Soon as you come back and they lose their mojo in the fourth quarter, you go into game 5, Tyrese Halliburton strains his calf. All of a sudden, in the fourth quarter, they could not stop turning the basketball over. I mean, it was like they were trying to give the Thunder game 5 easily. So now your best player is hurt,
questionable to play.
Correct, and that's bad enough, knowing that you're going into game 6 that you have to win at home. You lose your fourth quarter mojo in 2 back-to-back games, Magic's done.
Yeah,
and I'm talking about my own team. The Magic in Indiana is done. It ended in the fourth quarter of game 4. I don't see there being a way that this game goes back, or the series goes back to Oklahoma City for game 7.
No.
There's no way.
No.
I noticed, I watched a little bit last night. I noticed in the end of the third quarter, Indiana got a little close, but they just could not catch them.
But it was never anything serious.
They get it down to like 4 or 5, and then all of a sudden, Thunder score a couple buckets in a row and it's back up to 9.
Because they also haven't panicked. Like early in the series, young Thunder team, remember, they're not old. I mean, this is a bunch of young guys on this team for the most part. So you have guys learning that experience in that way. Indiana's got guys that have been there before. James Johnson, Pascal Siakam. Like these are guys that have either been there or have won titles. So they know what it looks like to get there and how you have to perform. So they have that on their side. Thunder don't. So as soon as the games start taking place, the series goes on, you gain experience and you gain composure and you start figuring out, hey, yeah, it's the finals, the NBA finals. It's just another basketball game. There is no difference. The court's no wider or longer. The hoop is no smaller or bigger. It is the same exact thing that you have done for almost 100 games this year. So as soon as that kicks in, experience is there. Now we start talking about matchups on an honest level. Series is over.
And we talked about it a few weeks ago. Like if the Pacers aren't scoring 115 points a game, they're cooked.
Yep.
Like the 104, 107 are not going to cut it against the Thunder. Yep. They're scoring 120, and that's just the way it is. And that's what we've seen the past 3 losses, or not past, but all their 3 losses has been sort of low scoring compared to the Thunder.
And again, think about the fact if Tyrese Halliburton doesn't hit a game winner in game 1,
it's been over right now.
We're done.
Up and get up.
We're done.
Yes.
So
it's over.
That's what it's come down to at this point in time. Like through the first 3 games, there was still something magical, especially again, the Pacers, they believe in that fourth quarter, they're right there. Magic's been gone for the last 2 games in your favorite quarter, and your best player's hurt now.
Yeah.
The math ain't mathin'. Let's put it like that. The math ain't mathin' in Indiana, and there's going to be a whole lot of storms going on because the Thunder are about to finish this whole thing off and get their first ring. They'll get off that list. Now it'll be down to 36.
Yep.
All right. Which, by the way, I found that list.
Okay, we'll
We'll
save
hit that
that for
at the
next
end.
week.
Yeah,
Yep. All right, so we're going to go on to some general stuff. Mark brought this up last week because he went to watch the Savannah Bananas, and I think this is kind of cool. And I've got a kind of cool idea. We'll see what everybody else came up with. But here's what Mark wanted to know: what rule changes would you like to see in baseball? I put MLB that would make the game more interesting.
So this stems.
You want to go first?
Yeah. Well,
tell where it stems from.
It stems from no banana puns, please. The whole segment of the Savannah Bananas, always lay out that they have 9 rules that you need to know about. There's a couple other different ones, but there's like 9 main ones, right? So you've got the games are 2-hour time limits. So as soon as they say start, the clock is running, and that's in between innings. It doesn't stop for anything. It's 2 hours long. When that timer runs out, whatever inning they are in, is the final inning. So that's it for the ball game. Now, like when we went, the clock ended and it was in the 9th inning, so they played the whole way through the 9th, right? You have that. Innings count as 1 point, right? So if you win the inning, meaning you have more runs than the other
Score's
team,
different. Yep.
that's a point.
That's
that's
one.
how you then win the game in its entirety. You have more points on the board than your opponent. The only difference is in the final inning, each run you get counts as a point.
So there could be no ties, I'm sure.
Correct.
Or it'd be nearly impossible to get
correct.
a tie.
Now, here's where it comes down to a little bit more. If a foul ball is caught by a fan,
It's an out.
it's an out.
It's an out.
Batters can steal first base. So if there's a wild pitch or pass ball, they have the opportunity to steal first base. If they want to, they have to designate that. Okay.
When you say, when you say designate, meaning
take off.
Okay, so in other words, the ball gets by the catcher. I just take off the
if
first.
you take off, you're
However,
designated.
when the catcher, if he throws the first, do they have to tag him, or if the ball beats him there, is he
no,
out?
it's just it just beats him there.
It beats him there.
So it's just
Okay.
like
All
a ground ball.
Okay. Okay.
No stepping out of the batter's box. If you do, it's a strike. So no timeouts, no stepping out to do your little belt adjust, gloves, bat, whatever. Look at your girl, give her a blower kiss, whatever. There's some overtime stuff, but there's generally some other stuff out there. So I mean, there's a couple different rules. Personally, I'd love to see the first base thing implemented, like because you have no one on base, especially in Major League Baseball, and pitchers start to get a little wonky, right? Like they're like, I can throw anything.
Yeah,
they may swing at it. You never know anymore. But when you got guys on base, you can't just start doing that because then they'll start moving a little bit, right?
Yep. Yeah.
So I personally love that. I love the opportunity to steal first and make the pitchers really have to pitch instead of I'm going to throw this thing 6 feet in front of the bag. Let's see what happens.
Yeah.
And you know, there's no way your catcher's going to go get it.
Yeah.
Personally.
So 1-1 count. I'm gonna drill one in the dirt, see if he swings.
Yep.
Doesn't matter if he gets by the catcher because there's nobody on base.
Correct.
And, the guy
And he can't go anywhere.
He can't go anywhere.
Yeah, he didn't make contact with anything, so he can't go anywhere. No, I'd love to do that because it forces the pitcher
That's
to
kinda cool.
actually pitch
All right.
a little bit more.
You want to know what mine is? There's one out there called the Golden At Bat. So one time during the game,
I do like this one too.
You can pick a hitter to hit for anybody, and it can be somebody in the game. So let's use Mark's Philadelphia Phillies as an example. Let's say the Phillies come up in the bottom of the 7th. It's a 1-run game, and it's bases loaded. And who's up to bat?
Nick Castellanos.
Okay. But the Phillies decide that they're going to put Bryce Harper up instead of Nick Castellanos. So they put Bryce Harper up. And let's just say Mr. Harper strikes out. And it just so happens that the next batter in the lineup is Bryce Harper. He's up again.
So you get 2 cracks.
You get to do it one time during the game with any hitter. And this has actually been discussed, I believe, at the major league level.
It's a
about
cool
maybe
rule.
adopting this rule.
It's a cool rule. I can
Yeah.
tell you there was a golden batter at the Bananas game, and he did hit a home run. So it's definitely worth it. It's definitely worth it if you get the right guy up there. But I mean, again, you talk about bases loaded situations. If you could get even your best hitter just on average up there,
yeah,
why not? If you know there's a guy who's been clutch in runners in scoring position throughout the year, get him up there. Give him a chance. I mean, that's
All right.
that's what you're looking for.
Here's a question on this one. Let's just say, and I don't know how they'd have to work this out. Let's go back to my scenario. So the first time he comes up, he gets a hit. Now he's on base. Now his spot's up again. Now what do you got to do? I guess you would have to put a runner in for him, and then he'd go back. And, Harper would go back and bat.
Good
right?
sub runner.
Yep.
You know.
Yeah.
Or if you choose the golden batter, the other team gets to pick who the runner is.
Yeah, that's
Ooh,
true
yeah,
too.
That's nice.
Yeah.
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 Even
So,
it out.
Yep.
I have 2 ones.
All right.
One is sort of, serious. Like I think it could actually be implemented, but the other one's sort of a little bit out there. And the one that's out there is like power plays. So like for a single game, a team could have an option for an inning for it to be like 4 outs instead of 3.
Oh.
Ooh.
And then you would have for each division, you like randomize up the power ups because you'd have different ones. That wouldn't be the only one. And then
That's an idea.
you'd like, you'd give them.
So okay. So quick question.
I'm looking at a room in my head of like
So-
baseball writers of America. and they're screaming.
Hey.
They are screaming.
But wait a minute. So let's say this. So let's say here's a little twist on this. Let's say you choose in one inning to have 4 outs. And you say before the inning starts, I want 4 outs in this
Mm-hmm.
inning. But here's the penalty you got. The next inning, you only get 2.
Okay.
So essentially, you have 6 outs over those 2 innings.
Yeah, but I don't
Right?
think it should even out. Like, because
Yeah.
Steve's saying a power play, right?
Like you're getting
Well,
you know what I mean?
yeah.
It's not like, hey, you in hockey, you go on a power play, but when you're done,
We go
they
on
go on
one.
a power.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
true.
Yeah.
That is true.
So it's
That is
just
true.
it's a thing in that like that's
So-
but then the other team will also have one too. So
Right,
It's still
yeah,
better,
yeah,
but
yeah.
It's
Yeah.
different. It's
Okay.
a different advantage.
That's
not the
kind
same
of an
thing.
interesting idea.
so what's the
right?
serious one?
The
I actually
serious
love
one-
that one. Anything
I
to
think
anything
that's
to
kinda
make the
cool.
Baseball Writers of America upset.
It's more like you allow a certain amount of pickoffs per batter, so you can't just sit there and like.
No, that's already a rule.
Is that already a rule?
Yes, you can't throw.
Oh.
You can't throw to
2.
first, but
2 times.
twice, right?
2
Oh,
times
really?
per at bat.
I didn't know
Yeah.
that.
Yep.
Okay, never mind.
Hey, it's a good idea.
Hey, it's a good idea. They adopted it. That was pretty good. Yeah. Harry, you got any?
There's no rules you would like to see baseball implement?
From
No, just in general.
Or just
In
in general,
general.
not from the banana.
no, yeah, oh no, there is at least one rule I would like to say is that the Yankees are banned from baseball.
Well, can't do that because then how will we see them lose?
True.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
Good point.
the Yankees start every game down 15-1.
Oh, you give them one.
Hey.
You're feeling good. 14-0.
Yeah, 14.
Clear off.
What if you made? Hey, okay. What if you made
No,
extra,
they start every game down the amount of World Series rings they have.
instead of? How about if you did this? Hey, how about if you did this instead of the runner being on second base at the beginning of the extra innings, he's at third.
If I was going to go back to
Just get rid of him.
the rule, I,
Do what?
Just get rid of
Well,
the
you want to
runner.
go play
Just
extra
get rid-
innings
just get
regular,
rid of the
right? But you see what I'm
runner.
saying?
the rule of baseball, go back to some of the old rules. Like the new,
Like
I don't know, just
Some.
some of these new things.
The base runner can go.
yeah,
you want to play extra
The base
innings
runner,
like it's
the
regular.
base runner can
right?
go. The pitch clock can stay.
Hey,
For love
pitch
of
clock's
God,
been
the-
great.
It's been
Yeah.
pitch clock has
Okay.
been great.
Yeah.
The amount of visits and all that, I don't like that. I mean, I don't like
Yeah.
how many
Like
times you
limit,
could throw
yeah.
over.
Yeah.
I just don't like. Some,
Oh, I'm okay with 2.
I mean, I get it, but it just you got to think that was for a while. I just
Well,
remember watching those stats.
Yeah,
Sure,
but the
but it
only
takes forever,
but the
man.
only problem with the 2 pickoffs is if you're the runner and you can entice the pitcher into
Exactly.
2,
I
you
don't
get
like
second
that.
But
base
that's
automatically.
strategy.
Yeah, but you get it automatically,
like
and
that
I don't like
strategy.
that idea.
I mean,
I'm
that
okay
would
with it.
that would probably be it. I mean, baseball's mostly fine the way it is. It's just
It's not like we don't see guys get picked off. Guys get picked off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like
Yeah,
it's not like
but-
it doesn't happen now. They get picked off.
Yeah. I would just like to see
And-
the game speed up more because, like, you know, I
Oh.
haven't been a
More?
baseball
Rob Manfred Jr. We got him.
watcher. Like,
Got him.
I haven't been watching baseball a long time, but I've struggled getting into baseball because it's just like you just sit there.
It's a
and then they
pedestrian
go.
game.
well, dude. Have you
Yeah,
seen
but with
the
the pitch
We gotta
clock,
stop
Have you
him
seen how
talking.
tall you are?
Rob
You're never
Manfred's
gonna fit into a
listening.
baseball.
Ha, ha, ha.
All right, let's go
I
down real
wouldn't
quick.
either.
Speaking of-
one last rule I would
Yep.
like to change is that can the Red Sox stop sending their talent to NL West?
Hey,
teams?
that's the next one.
I know.
Rafael Devers trade, good or bad for the Sox, Harry?
For the Sox. Unfortunately, I hate to say this, it's good. He had become a cancer in the clubhouse. And you listen, Devers came up through our system. He's great. He has
So
from the pinnacle of his career in Boston, he has slowly gone downhill from a standpoint of kind of being a diva, being a liability at third base.
okay, so a couple things here. So you think the chemistry is better, but are they a better team?
No.
No, yeah, I know because
Right,
he's
okay.
take away the
All
first
right.
2 weeks of the
No. So
season. He's
then-
been hitting great.
So then let's go back. Let's go back to something else. Go further back. They actually kept the wrong guy, and it gave the wrong guy the big contract. They should have kept the guy who's playing for the Dodgers right now
Mookie,
and given him the big
100%.
contract, right?
yeah, 100%.
Oh, I thought we were going to say Xander Bogaerts.
No. He
The other
left
guy in
it- no,
California.
he left
that
as,
too. There's
he-
3 guys that have
No,
shipped out to
but
California.
But Xander left as a free agent, right? Mookie got traded.
Yeah.
This makes so much sense now.
Yeah.
This makes so
Yeah,
much
I
more
know,
sense now.
yeah.
Bring back Xander.
Yep.
No, I mean, listen. As far as team chemistry in the clubhouse goes, it was a needed move because
Right.
Devers was not happy, and the thing is, he has the right to be not happy. But here's the problem: you are a little bit of a defensive liability at third base. You are not going to be playing third over a guy that just won a Gold Glove.
Right.
You're just not
True.
going to be.
This is
And also,
true.
this guy can hit.
This is true.
So
It was 2 years
he
ago.
was not willing to be a team player and move a little bit. Like if you look at some of the great Red Sox players, they've
That's
had
true.
to do that. Mookie's done it. Ortiz did it.
Bryce
think-
Harper. Bryce Harper.
Sure. So, but here's the difference. Key difference in Bryce and what's going on here. To be fair, from the outside looking in, they were asking him to move a lot
I mean,
Yes.
this year. They
this year,
so
but it's not
so,
the first time.
So here's the thing. You know, you're signing a guy like Alex Bregman, correct? He's going to play third. There's no real debate about that. Why wasn't there a plan in place? Well, we want him still in the field. We're going to play him here instead of, oh God, we don't know what to do with Rafael Devers. It's not like they signed Alex Bregman the day before opening day.
So here's what and again, you don't know exactly what was said, but if you believe what has been reported, is that there had been discussions before they signed Bregman that Devers would be willing to DH and play first base. Well, apparently he backed out of that.
It kind of sound, or those discussions never happened.
Yeah, I mean, it just depends on what you believe.
Alex
you know?
Cora is a habitual liar, so you never.
Yeah,
really
well, I
know.
mean, but supposedly this was a Craig Breslow thing. You know, I mean,
influenced by Alex Cora, but
yeah. But the thing is, Cora was always a Devers guy. He always
Allegedly.
loved Devers.
So here's the funny thing: he goes to the Giants, and you know where he's probably going to play?
Third.
No,
No,
first base.
And guess who
Yeah.
plays Friday night in San Francisco?
The Red Sox, baby.
All right.
Here's the thing. Like I said, overall, they did this in 04 too, and I don't know if anybody remembers this because everyone other than Brian was pretty young. I don't know if Bryson was alive in 04.
Oh.
Actually, you weren't either.
He wasn't either.
Jeez. The Red Sox were
Just
faced
hanging
with a
around.
really tough decision of getting rid of the guy in the clubhouse that was unhappy. And he wasn't just a guy, he was the guy, and that was Nomar Garciaparra.
Oh, that's right. Yep.
And they had to make the tough decision to trade him.
Yep.
And I'm not saying the Sox are winning the World Series this year, but it resulted in a World Series win for them. You know, this isn't the first time we've had to make these decisions,
Right.
and it sucks. But always be thankful for Devers because as he came up, I remember when he first came up, dude was just a young, great talent.
Yep.
Now, really quick, you said you think it's a good thing for the Red Sox. You said you think it's a good thing for the Red Sox, but they are not better.
I don't think they're better, but I will tell you one thing: the guy that's now playing third because Bregman is hurt has come out and is just playing like with his hair on fire. Hit 2 home runs in a game, really solid at third. I mean,
Are the Red Sox going to win more games now without Rafael Devers?
I don't know. I mean, they weren't winning them because of him. Let's just put it that way. I can count one game this year they won because of that guy, and he hit a walk-off home run. I don't know. I'd like to think that if camaraderie and chemistry is better in the clubhouse, maybe everyone starts playing better. I don't know.
There's problems on both sides here.
Yeah.
100%. The Red Sox didn't handle it the best way, and he probably didn't either.
Agreed.
Right? And then
It-
there's
it-
like,
it
okay,
sucks.
we got to trade him for the good of the team because he's not doing the team any good by saying, I want to play third. I want a DH. Okay, you're the DH. Well, now, what's his name? What's the first baseman's name?
Casas.
He got hurt, so
Yep.
now we need you to play first. He's like, no, I'm the DH.
So here's the thing. You remember the first press conference at spring training where they were talking about Bregman and him, and he goes, "No, I play third."
Yeah.
Dude, I mean,
yeah.
This-
Again,
it's-
it sounds like a conversation did not happen.
no,
or he was not listening.
or he just totally just changed his mind about it.
That too.
Knowing Devers the way I have as a Red Sox fan, that option seems more likely than the rest of them. So we'll see. I mean, I hope he does well. I hope he tears a left-handed bat at San Francisco. The dude's gonna be putting bombs
The
in
last
McCovey Cove.
left-hander to hit 30 homers for the Giants.
Barry Bonds.
Barry Bonds.
Yeah.
All right, so
Was
we'll,
at his presser today.
it has
Devers
been
will not be
a
hitting 30
fast and furious and fun 1 hour and 3 minutes here on the Sports Recap. We will be back next Tuesday night. Caveat, maybe we will be on the air Monday. We'll have to see what happens. If there is a game 6, we may be broadcasting from the Biscuit Monday.
Stay
but
tuned to your
we'll-
By the way,
stay tuned. We'll keep you tuned in. If not, we'll be here
Show's
next Tuesday at 7 p.m.
before you sign off, Brian, I just like to tell people if you decide to go to the Biscuit for another game, if there is one, which we're hoping there is, just know one thing: the biscuits are made in the oven. It is hot in the
It
oven.
was warm in there, and actually, you might not. It's you may not be likely to be able to get a ticket. I think Game 6 is already sold out.
Quick reminder: there's ice entirely on the floor in that building.
Yes,
It's so
and it
hot.
is warm when you're in there.
The biscuit was an oven.
So we'll see you next week, either Monday or Tuesday, or maybe both.
Deuces.
Thank you.
Real Country is 550 AM WAME, 92.9 W225BD, Statesville.